And I am live this evening to share some hip exercises and mobility moves with you. I'm Katarina from Level Up Life Project. Please always be safe, do exercises with your doctor's approval, and listen to your body is the most important thing. So definitely make sure that you're comfortable distinguishing between a good stretch and pain, because we don't want to go into pain. I'm on a mat that's about half an inch thick. I have some other things with me tonight. There's a chair, there's kind of a chair off to the side that I'll grab in a minute, a low stool that we use at one point, yoga blocks depending on if you need some bolstering, and I also have half of a foam roller. You can substitute this with like a thick rolled towel as well. So to get started, it's always good to warm up a little bit. You'll notice that I am barefoot, and that is on purpose. If you are in a place where it's safe to go barefoot, it's a good thing, and you're comfortable with that. It's a good thing to do just to bring your feet into the game. If you're wearing shoes that are stiff, then your feet can't move with you. And the other thing is that no body part is in a vacuum. So the hips are affected by the way we move all of the rest of our parts, but especially the parts below them. So that starts with the feet. Just doing kind of some moves to get the blood moving here. That starts with the feet, lower legs, the knees, your thighs, and then you get up to the hips. So everything is connected and related. So having your feet free lets your toes splay out, which can add stability to your movements. It lets those foot muscle, or it gives the opportunity for the foot muscles to engage more. So to get started, after we've done a little movement, feel free to keep going, do like some side steps and things like that, get that blood moving. But we're actually going to do a little movement, like it is a reset to kind of relax your body, do some communication with your mind, that your muscles can relax and be safe to engage in movement. So I brought the chair because we're going to get down on the ground. We will be going all 3 levels down on the ground, also seated moves, standing moves. And for anyone that is joining me live at this moment, I'm going to go through the movements, and then at the end, I will go up and check to see if there are any questions I can answer for you. So if you are not comfortable getting all the way down on the ground, you can do this on a bed. If you're doing it on a bed, if you're doing the moves that I do on the ground on a bed, then for this, the substitution would be like a big stack of pillows, because what we're going to do is rest our one leg over the chair. And even for this, depending on the height of your chair, you may need a yoga block or some pillows, because this chair happens to be the perfect height for me. But you want it to be like the height of from where you're on the ground to it really catches right behind the knee, not that your leg kind of has to flop out to the side to rest on the chair. You want it to be that you have a straight line there. And I'm going to scoot back just a little bit, because you want the other leg. So we're just going to have one leg on the chair, and we want the other leg to be able to relax all the way on the ground. And then you're also going to lay on the ground. And I might move my mic a little bit because I feel like it's going up into my neck a bunch. And yeah, we're just going to lay here for like a minute. Check the time. And breathe slow and think happy thoughts. Your nervous system connects your brain with your muscles. So if we're thinking tense thoughts, then that can create tension in the body. And tension in the body can give feedback to the brain that we're in a stressful situation and we need to be stressed and tense. So this starting off movement with, yes, getting your blood moving with a little warm up, but also having moments where you like calm the nervous system down, calm the body down can be really good. So just calming, slow breaths. And believe it or not, that was already a minute. So then you're going to shift so that you can do the other side. I'm just going to come around the back of the chair here to get my other leg up on the chair and the opposite one extended down. And just again, relax, calming, slow breaths. And we're letting our body be supported by the floor, and the one leg up on the chair is kind of creating this like really slight passive stretch. It may not even feel much like a stretch, but it's just engaging your body in like a different configuration, and then you let your body know, okay, I can relax. And you may notice that one side feels different than the other. Personally, hips are one of the places where I'm working on my own mobility, as you'll see as we go through here. And my right hip is tighter and like kind of a little more problematic for now than my left side. So we'll be here just for a couple more seconds. All right, that's it for that. So now we're gonna come back to standing and we'll do some standing hip moves. I'm gonna move the chair off to the side again. And we're gonna go into some moves focusing on one leg at a time. And so you can start with either side. If you do choose to repeat this routine, like day in, day out, then switch off on which I do start with. I'm going to start with my left leg as the standing leg and my right leg as the leg that's in motion. And so we're going to do a couple different things. We're going to start, move your arms as feels comfortable for you. And if you are not very stable standing on one leg, then you can brace yourself on the door or on a really steady chair, or, you know, one hand wherever you need it to be. But you can also work that standing leg more if you're also depending on it for stability. So standing on one leg, we're going to go one knee up and down. And when I come down, I'm not actually putting weight on the leg that's coming down. I'm just tapping it to the floor and coming up. That's 4, 5, and then we're going to angle that slightly out, like at a 45-degree angle. If you have, like, stay within the range of motion that your body tells you can do right now. If you force a greater range of motion than your body is telling you is okay for you, then yes, you might do that movement right now, but you could end up bringing tension to those muscles, because as a result of forcing it, your body feels like, okay, now I need to protect myself so that we don't get injured when he or she tries to force this move. Now we're going to go slightly across the other way, like cross body knee up, 5. And then we're going to do like a side kick out, staying just in that same plane of movement. And after several moves on the same leg where I'm not really resting weight on the moving leg, I'm keeping the weight here, you may start to feel this in your outer hip, where we're working one hip and saying, okay, hold my body up while we are moving the other hip. We're going to go back. Then we're going to do a circle. I'm going to start out to in. So like away from the body and then toward the body. 3, 4, 5. So we should be doing 5 of these. Sometimes it's hard to keep count and talk. And then we're going to go from in to out, another circle. All right, now we're going to switch to the other leg. So whichever leg was the moving leg before, now that becomes the leg that holds your weight, and your leg that was holding your weight is going to be the moving leg. So we're going to start straight up like we did. 45-degree angle out. 45-degree angle. Well, angle in, not necessarily 45 degrees. Lateral swing out. But I say swing, we're not using momentum, we're using the muscle, we're controlling the movement. And back. And circle out to in. And into out. All right, awesome. So we've gotten some movement there. We're going to do a strength move now. We're going to go down into some glute bridges. Again, I'm getting down on the ground. If you need to, you could do this on a bed instead. And just like with the range of motion moves, this is not about forcing your body. So if you can only go half of an inch higher than like being fully on the ground before you start recruiting your back muscles, then just do half an inch. This is not about recruiting the back. It's about using the muscles of our legs, hips, and glutes to go into the bridge. So you can go palms up, your feet flat on the floor, and go up, hold for a second, come all the way down and relax all the way. So this is not necessarily like, okay, power through. It's engaging and then also helping the hips to see, okay, we engage and relax. So up, hold for a second, come down, relax all the way. Up, come down, relax all the way. Try to keep your knees stable and steady in line with the hips. So we don't want to have like one knee further or one leg, with the knee at a different angle than the other. We want to have them symmetrical. Up, calm down and relax. Up, calm down. Go up. If you're doing this move or any other move and you realize, okay, I'm recruiting my back, or this is giving me a twinge in my knee or whatever, listen to your body. You may have gotten to the point of exhaustion for those muscles. So a lot of times our hips and our glute muscles, we've kind of phoned it in, and they're not as strong as they need to be, which is me speaking to myself as well. Like I said, this is definitely an area where I'm working on increasing strength, increasing mobility. Okay. All right, now we're going to go into a stretch. And we're going to do something a little bit different in this stretch, which is to include a really, really gentle rocking motion, not bouncing. We're not bouncing to make the stretch go deeper. We're rocking to help the communication between the brain and the body to say, okay, this is a move where I can be okay and feel comfortable, and again, not forcing it. So we're going to go into like a deep hip flexor stretch. One foot comes in front of you, 90-degree angle on that knee. You can go a little bit deeper as you go into the stretch. You put your hands down on the mat or on the bed. You want to make sure that back knee is supported. And you're going to do little, small rocking hip circles. We'll go both directions. We'll go one direction and then the other. And then take a calming breath. And on the exhale, you may feel your body release some of the tension. You may feel like you can go deeper into the stretch and do the little hip circles again while you breathe calmly. All right, now we're going to do on the other side. Always try to kind of mentally see how far forward I took the foot that went forward and match it on the other side to keep like the same depth for both sides. So we're going to bring the hands down and relax to the stretch for a second and then do those little hip circles. And the other direction. And go still. And a calming breath. And see if your body releases a little bit, lets you go a little bit deeper. Happily, not forcing it again, but if it lets you happily go a little bit deeper when you exhale, and then do the little hip circles again. And the other direction. Oh, that feels really good. Sometimes after a move like that, I like to do like a little child's pose. Okay, very good. So for our next move, we're going to come back up and do some side-to-side lunges. So this is, a lot of these moves are a combination of encouraging strength, encouraging the muscles to grow along with using the range of motion that's available. You don't want to push beyond the available range of motion because again, it's just going to backfire on us. So we're going to go from one side to the other and think of pushing your behind back when you go down. And it's not about speed. This is when we work on mobility, it's more about keeping the body calm and helping the body feel safe than like explosive speed or like trying to max out on weights or anything. More intense exercises have their place depending on where you're at right now with your health and what your goals are. I think it's a good goal for all of us to work toward being able to do like those more intense exercises, but it's also good to have moments where you kind of let your body be calm. And especially if you're in the Eastern time zone like me, this is like evening. It's nice to let the body or help the body calm down and be ready for sleep. Even if this is the best time to do exercise, you can do exercises that work with your body. Okay, we're going to go into a forward bend. When I do a forward bend, I'd like to make sure I keep my back nice and flat as I go to where my hamstrings are comfortable enough to go. And then I could decide, okay, how is my back feeling? Do I want to let it relax down? So hinging from the hips, hinging from the hips, hinging from the hips, not rounding the back. Go to where the hamstrings want to go. Nice calm breath. Sometimes gets you a little bit more. Because again, this is not just about, okay, what can my muscles do? It's also about what my nervous system can do. And then once I'm there, sometimes I relax down. If you do relax down, then make sure you roll it nice and smooth, slowly. And now let's do, we're not going to do regular squats in this routine. We're going to do sit to stand. So this is what I mentioned at the beginning, kind of like a lower stool. But it might need to be just a regular chair depending on where you are. So the point of a sit to stand is that you can go with the control of going toward a squat to do a squat, but then it helps you grow your squat if you do it with a height that challenges you a little bit, and then come up. You want your knees and your feet kind of pointing the same direction. Come up, down, up. And when we come up, I'm not thrusting my hips forward. I'm just coming up to straight. So if this was like a squat, when you come down and then you come back up, I'm not pushing forward like that. Like I'm not thrusting my pelvis forward. I'm just coming up to straight standing. Let's do about 5 more of these. Breathe out as you come up and in as you go down. Great. So now that we've done that, which is like a modification on a squat, and of course you can do squats, but that's like a nice way to work. Like even if you are really comfortable in a squat and you want to get comfortable going from like a way deep squat to standing, the sit to stand with different heights can be your way to doing that. And speaking of deep squats, the have a foam roller or a large rolled towel or whatever you have that can substitute for this. This is to go under your heels. So a deep squat is ideally a resting position where we can feel comfortable and have that as an option for like sitting and resting and like doing ground activities in a deep squat. But we've lost that, and I include myself. A lot of us have lost that mobility to be able to do a deep squat well. So putting something under your heel, like being able to do a deep squat with our heels on the ground, we've lost that. And I include myself. Plenty of people that still have it, but I'm not one of them. So in working on this, one way to work on it is when you put something under your heels to kind of bring that elevation, it allows you to go down into a deep squat with your heels down on that surface, because you want a lot of your weight in your heels when you're in a deep squat in order to be able to like both relax certain areas and engage others well. If you're balancing on the balls of your feet in a deep squat, it doesn't have the same effect. Let's do a couple deep breaths here. All right, and then we'll come up. Just a couple more moves. So that's what this was for. Lots of other things you can do with that, but for today, just gonna do that one thing. And last couple moves, we're gonna come back to lying down. And with our feet flat on the ground, so our legs are kind of in that triangle position, but we are going to take them wider this time, not straight down from the hips. We're going to go wider so that we can drop them to one side, and we want to keep the upper back flat on the ground and then come center and drop to the other side. Center, drop. For me, I'm doing now left side, center, right side, center, left. And I'm guiding you verbally because I want you to see that it's slow. This is not like, okay, speed, drop to the right, drop to the left. You drop into the right, coming up to the center. Do one more time each side. Drop to the left. Breathing nice and calm through the nose. Come center. And drop to the right. And come center. So now we can bring our legs back closer together. So now we do want our knees kind of in a line down from the hips, so hip width apart. We can cross one ankle over the other. And if that already creates a stretch for you, you could keep it there. You can engage the stretch a little deeper by gently, very gently pushing down on that knee that's bent, like the knee, the side where your ankle's over the other knee, or by bringing the leg that's down where the foot is on the ground, bringing that leg up and towards you and grabbing behind it. And let it come down. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to do all of those same variations or modifications. So first just ankle over the knee, and then the gentle push. Again, listen to your body. If you feel this movement in your knee and not in your hip, then your knees are like, or your legs are not really quite ready. You can make it less intense by extending the leg with the foot on the ground so that the angle is not so much. And that may even mean like going all the way to the floor and doing it there. Like that may be where you're at right now, which is fine. We all start somewhere. And then I'm going to bring the lower leg up and hold. And relax. All right, as the very, very last thing I want to do before I check, just in case there are any questions, let's talk about sitting cross-legged. So it's another resting position that can be really good for helping to increase hip mobility. But for some of us, and I'll show you without the blocks first, for some of us, because we spent years and years not doing it, our hips are so tight that knees are kind of far from the ground. And I've been working on this like for a couple of years, which is why it can be pretty upright. But sometimes it's so, like there's so much limitation there that in order to even sit cross-legged on the ground at all, your back ends up like so curved like this, like you're just trying to barely hang on instead of actually being able to be more upright. And even still, like even though I can be more upright, I'm not quite sitting on my sits bones, which are like right at the bottom of your pelvis. So what can help with that is bolstering. So that can be yoga blocks, that can be cushions, that can be like a low stool, but I'm just going to demonstrate with some blocks. So make sure that you're nice and stable and balanced, and you can sit on the blocks and get them like positioned right. And can you see like how I can actually be like so much more upright in my torso, because now I'm really sitting on those sits bones of my pelvis and then letting myself be cross-legged here. If you really, really want to work on your hip mobility and you have times where you're still, like whether that's scrolling on your phone or watching TV or reading or talking to your family members, and you can do it while sitting cross-legged, Um, it can be beneficial for like having more times when you're asking your body to get comfortable in this position. You probably noticed just a second ago that I switched which foot is in front, which is good to do, just to train, those different angles, because whichever leg is behind versus the one in front, it's going to be slightly different angles for your knees. And then this is also another place where you can work on your deep squat in a different way. Like your pelvis is supported, but you're asking your feet to go into that position, even though they're not bearing weight. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please feel free to go back through that routine and do it again. Let's take a quick look to see if there are any questions. So we had a couple people say hi. Appreciate that toward the beginning. And yeah, thanks so much for watching and for doing this routine with me. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe. I go live about once a week and then share that recording for those that want to either watch when this is not a good time for them or watch again later. And I'm Katerina from Level Up Life Project. Have a great one.